It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's morb it all out.
Oh god, my name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
You're not Morbius Royer?
No, we're just morbing it out.
God, it is Morbin Time if it's ever been one. You're killing me. You're killing me over here. This week we're talking out our Disney Plus Day wishes. I think this is a very important thing to discuss because they gave us a date and no content. It is the prime summer for streaming. That's not an Amazon Prime reference. I'm just now realizing this. Literally, there is a list of things we've watched here that's longer than I think things we would normally watch along the way. Mm-hmm. And then we also break down our biggest summer movie wishes. And I said that, but we're just going to go through this list of movies coming out and more.
Yeah, it's we're technically in the first unofficial week of summer, right? You know, in the States over here, Memorial Day was last week. So now we're fully into the media consumption frenzy that is the summer. And this summer definitely feels different, right, than last summer. Even though I think there are some COVID cases on the rise and people have been very laxed in general because a lot of places are just assuming that it's over. But it seems like for the most part, movie theaters are going to be staying open and raking in box office dollars. Yeah. I mean, I think what I was saying through the whole pandemic was we won't kind of see the movie theaters back to normal until a movie breaks a normal movie record. Mm-hmm. And wasn't it Top Gun Maverick that just broke like the biggest Memorial Day weekend opening?
It could have. I would say Doctor Strange kind of did. Being the first weekend of May, I think that kind of kicked everything off. But like we've talked about, there's no diminishing returns, right? The second movie is the one we're looking at here. Like, can this sustain itself? And yes, it did. And we'll talk more about this later. But next week is probably going to be another huge record breaker with another Jurassic Park movie, I believe. Fallen Kingdom, or the first one, whatever the first one was. Just Jurassic World, was one of the biggest movies of all time as well.
Yeah, I'm vibing on dinosaurs right now because went to Universal Studios last weekend and got to ride the new Jurassic World ride. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, Apple Plus has their new David Attenborough narrated kind of dinosaur documentary Planet Earth style thing. Yeah. So we were watching some of that. We'll be checking out. We actually get to see Jurassic World 3 a day early on Wednesday. My wife was able to flex us some free tickets on that, so we're all consumed by the dino right now. So It's pretty exciting. Even though I know there's no way this Jurassic Park movie is going to recapture any of like the prestige of the first film, but it's fun and stupid and like they're treating dinosaurs like dogs now basically. Like I don't believe under any scenario, even if we were able to bring raptors back to life, that they would just be as obedient as a golden retriever as they're trying to make it seem. Well,
there's two things. First, I want to mention that you talked about the David Attenborough dinosaur thing. His brother, Richard Attenborough, is John Hammond from the first movie, by the way.
Wow, I'd never put that together.
Yeah, it brings that full circle. So I think that's really cool. The other part of that is, I think things we've learned since the original Jurassic Park is if dinosaurs came back, they're essentially birds. Birds are the descendants of dinosaurs. So I just imagine a bunch of like large chickens running around, scraping and pecking, and not really looking like lizards. So like to me, that's a little funnier in my head. But like you said, you can't beat dinosaurs. I still have not watched the last one, Jurassic World. So like it's one of those things like is this the one that's gonna bring back because it's got the original cast in it? But we'll talk more about that here. But like like you said, it is. We recorded this last Sunday before Memorial Day, and to celebrate, I'm actually drinking some red, white, and blue pop, like from from Walmart here. The Clear American
pop. To translate for other listeners, that is another way to say soda if you're not from the Midwestern states.
I don't say pop, but that's the name on the bottle. So I'm gonna roll with this. We're also foodies. I've not had it yet, but Mike, I've told him about the Mountain Dew Typhoon you can order again since it lost in Democracy 10 years ago. That's out. And the Blueberry Kit Kats are available if people are looking at them. I had to be halfway through Ohio to find them this weekend myself. So let's jump into what we've been doing. One thing I don't have here, Mike, is on Friday, my wife is a huge fan of the artist Halsey. So we went on a 5-hour journey to Cleveland, or outside of Cleveland, to watch a Halsey concert. God bless her. She didn't get us lawn seats. She didn't get us pit seats. We had assigned seating, and that made it all the better. I know Halsey songs, but I don't know them. Like, I don't know the words, stuff like that. Her newer album is produced by Trent Reznor, which is one of my favorite artists of Nine Inch Nails. So I really enjoy that album, but I haven't listened to it on repeat enough to know everything. But I gotta tell you, it's a pretty good show. She's just as good in real life as on the records. So that's always something you kind of run a risk with. And her music kind of sounds poppy, right, a little bit. But really, it's her and 3 other people doing music: a live drummer, a guitarist, and then a keyboardist. And really, really impressive. Performances and stage persona. I'd have to recommend it if anyone has a chance to watch her. Whether you know her songs or not, it's really, really a good show. And one of the cool things about it is she sets it up in the show's set up in chapters. So there's like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and an epilogue. And that was really cool. Like the songs all, even like her older songs, not just her new ones, all tell a story really along the way. And that was really fun. So recommend it. The other cool part about this venue, it's actually in a national park. Up in like a national forest right outside Cleveland. So all the venue has like wood accents like around the stage area, but the rest is painted to look like wood. So it feels very, very outdoorsy rather than like a stadium seating or like a convention center. And that was really cool because I've never been to something that felt so remote to watch a concert of such high not value, but like high notoriety, if you will, along the way. So really cool, really, really fun time. But as some people may notice, I don't know if I even sound different. My allergies are just kicking my ass from this outdoor event. So in my old age, finding you can't be outside more than 3 hours without getting something wrong with you.
The double-edged sword, right, of being outdoors and enjoying Mother Nature. Right?
Yeah, did not get a sunburn, but if you didn't get some of the allergies, they'll get you. It's one of the two. So that was it. And then also something I just got out of watching earlier today. A friend of the show, Andrew. I used to share a bathroom with him in college. We had those rooms. You at Cary Quad, I remember the suites had the shared bathroom. So he lived across. Also, we shared a bathroom. He is in the area, and he invited me to watch Top Gun Maverick with him today. And little to his knowledge, or anyone else, but you, Mike, are probably I don't know the first Top Gun movie like the back of my hand. I remember snippets. I remember the highlights, right? The beach volleyball scene, the death of Goose, highway to the danger zone, of course, right? But I couldn't tell you the plot of that whole movie if and poked at me.
I feel like that's about all you need to know. I always thought it was interesting, and I'm sure somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure they will, because I'm also not a scholar of the first Top Gun movie. But I always found it very, very strange that I don't believe that there's any action, like military action, that happens in the first film. I believe it's just all training exercises in school, as far as I can tell. I don't know, maybe somebody's yelling at me like, no, the last 10 minutes there's actually a fight. But I've heard that there's actually like an adversary in the new one.
Yeah, the new one, it's very nostalgic. It leans on the 80s guitar. You have the highway to the danger zone. I always tell the story because we sat in Comic-Con 2019 with Tom Cruise, introduced the movie. He's like, we filmed it, we're ready to go, right? And then here we are 3 years later before we actually got to watch it. 3 years later. So was really cool to feel the hype off that, then watch this. And it's pretty good. I'd say it's fine. But like it's very much it's it's one of those like a tension between people kind of films, right? Like it's more drama than action, but it's also like not like a dreary drama along the way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like there's a lot of really cool shots. I assume a lot of this is practical, as they told us when we were, at Comic-Con. So it looks really cool. It seems fun. There is one scene early on in this film that they could only get once, and if they didn't get it, they would have lost it and not been able to use something like that. So I know you plan to watch it next week. So I don't feel like I could tell you anything that would ruin this movie for you, but at the same time, I'd be interested to see your reaction on this, because I know very little about flying. I just know whatever they're doing in this movie, whether it's real or not, I would never be able to do it myself. So I guess I applaud people who do this for a living and fly these planes, because it's just fantastic. It's awesome, and it's really, really cool. So I had a good. At the end of the day, I'm just gonna say I had a good time with it. And one of the actors in this is Miles Teller, who we remember from Fanforstic. Did not like him in that movie. Kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for him, but he is a great actor in this, Mike. I have to flip my script, if you will. I
believe Miles really Teller is an Academy Award at least nominee. I don't remember if he won. So yeah, he's got the acting prowess. Well, maybe not in a certain film.
Well, yeah. Well, I would say. Well, I mean, there were some other movies that came out around that time where I'm just like, I don't like the attitude he's putting off in these movies. I know he's an actor; he's supposed to just like kind of rub me the wrong way, kind of like Jay Courtney, right, from Suicide Squad. I'm like, I don't like you. I don't know what it is about you, but I just don't like you. But really, really, he's come of age in this. It was really fun. So. I'd have to go back and probably watch the original now with this. My biggest concern was, Val Kilmer is one of my favorite actors of that era, right? Top Gun, he was Iceman, Batman Returns? No, not Returns. Batman Forever, right? The third one. Kiss Kiss Kiss. He has a condition where he's lost the ability to talk, right? We know that. And they were able to bring his condition and him back into this movie respectfully, which was great. So that was really fun to see, because you never know how they're going to handle that, right? Like, are they going to CGI a whole different person and use the analog robot AI to do his voice for him, or what? So very, very cool to see they did it respectfully without just literally making a CGI character for him along the way. So Top Gun Maverick, recommend it. It's fun little I'd say summer popcorn movie. But the night before that, as we got back from Cleveland, and I was feeling like hell from this car ride, Mike, my wife was like, "Do you want to watch Chip and Dale's?" And I said, "Whoa, I don't think I'm ready for that kind of commitment, baby." No, I'm just kidding. That's a weird outline. But we got to watch Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and you took the time while I was at Top Gun to watch Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers today.
Yeah, I did.
So, I want to say that this is probably the most Easter egg-filled movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ooh, you cannot take your eyes off of this, which is difficult to do with like any streaming thing in your own home, right?
Yeah.
Your phone's just right there. You got to check that text messages, refresh your email, see if you're missing out on anything. Like,
grabbing a drink from the fridge. No, you can't do it.
And also, like, on top of it, like, not only do you have to parse through the backgrounds, but you have to parse, is what you're seeing a reference, or is what you're seeing a reference of something that they couldn't quite get the IP for, so they drew something like the equivalent. It is my wife and I still cannot fathom how they got the rights for some of these characters.
Yes.
I just do not understand it. Just when we think our armchair quarterback lawyer in each and every one of us knows how this might work, all of a sudden they're melting Shrek's face in a shot, which is a rival studio. Like, how does that even happen?
So the other part of this, and we'll talk about. So the director is obviously Akiva Schaffer, right? I believe that's his name. 1/3 of Lonely Island. He is able to pull studios that aren't just rivals, but like immediately, like there is a Batman in here. This is a Disney movie on Disney Plus only. There's Batman in here. I would say the one that caught me off guard the most, by far, is Randy from South Park. Sitting in a hot tub sauna. I'm like, they got South Park in on this whole thing? Wow.
The only thing that I can think, Chris, and I wish I knew a lawyer, because I want to know an IP lawyer. I just want to go get lunch with them. I want to pick their brain. The only thing I know that's kind of somewhat related is like in the music industry, right? Where if you want to cover a song, you don't necessarily have to get like the permission to do it. You just have to pay the fee to cover it. So does that exist in Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. Can you just pay like Sonic and Paramount to use Sonic the Hedgehog in your movie if you just pay up? You know, it's so strange. Like, I know, like, Disney is, like, a huge studio, right? And I'm sure some of these smaller properties, right, would love just to be seen by eyeballs, and they don't care if they're a Disney property or not. But I'm just, like, thinking, there was more than a few DreamWorks references. And wasn't that entire studio born basically out of spite, you know, to fight Disney? So I would love, like, the behind-the-scenes of this movie would probably be just as entertaining and fascinating as the movie actually was, and it was a good movie.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of heaviness to this movie, but to me, and I'm going to ask you this question, Mike, does this not feel like a sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Like through and through, like
definitely like a companion piece, right?
Yeah, like there's obviously drip in the villain's toolkit, right, which is what they use in, but like it feels like this is the, like, if Who Framed Roger Rabbit just kept going, this is the world we'd be in, right? Like the behind the scenes of the animated and the people living together. I grew up watching Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. When they had the super or the regular Nintendo video game cartridge on the desk, I'm like, oh my god, I rented that at the local video store so many times to play that game.
Like, I don't know if they just did such a good job crafting it, if it was real, if I ever held it in my hand, but I swear to God, Chris, I have held that same Pog Slammer in my hand. I don't know if it exists or not, but they made me think it existed, and they made me think it was part of my childhood. So they hacked my brain. They got in there. It was just so much fun. My wife had really no idea what she was going into, and at the end of it, she was like, I am shocked. It was as good as it was. I would love to see this, because, like, I know it's not the same, but I feel like the best way to kind of reboot things or adapt things is kind of using, like, meta commentary. You know, the Lego Movie did a great job at it, and the Lego Movie formula was able to be adapted, you know, to Batman, right? So I would almost love to see this kind of expanded, and wouldn't it be cool if they did, like, DuckTales, or if they did...
Darkwing Duck,
which like, they kind of hint at, and like there's so many things that they could do. There's
the whole Disney afternoon from the 80s and 90s, right? Like, you know, a cartoon that was referenced to this that I remember watching was Gummy Bears, right? Like, you know, what is this family of gummy bears doing later in life now that the show's been over and, like, they're all doing stuff? It was really... like I said, the story's kind of generic, but I think the characters, the voice acting, the nostalgia, the cameos really just made me, like, drew this together for me at the end of the day.
The farce of everything was the best part of it, you know, where the stinky cheese, like, it's almost like there's a version of this script where they're just like, write whatever you want as if this could be a rated R movie, and then just go ahead and do a find and replace for cocaine, right? Which I really loved. And that was kind of my favorite part. So whenever they were kind of like cheating the story or moving things along like a little artificially, I was like, I don't care. I just want to get to the next joke. When that Muppet / puppet of the cheese guy, when his eyebrows
went down,
went down. Oh, I lost it. And then he dropped his accent.
He's
I was
like,
oh my god, this movie's the best.
It was so much fun. Like, and literally, like, I feel like this, I would say this is like one of the movies that has, like, probably more freeze frames and analyzation than probably a lot of other movies in recent memory. Like, they've stopped and looked like, who is this? Who was that? Along the whole, especially this convention center. Like, we all knew ugly Sonic's in this, right? Like, they went and got ugly Sonic with the human teeth and made a point of it. Now, I want to share a little fun fact with you. In the original script for this, the storyboard artist, that was actually Jar Jar Binks instead of Ugly Sonic in the original script. And you can find the storyboards for that online right now.
That would have been good. Honestly, that would have been good too. I think Ugly Sonic works kind of better in the zeitgeist at the moment, and it was just, it was great. And also, I'll adore any movie that pulls off a Men's Warehouse joke, because I'd make the "you're gonna love the way you look" reference all the time. And then when it wound up in this movie, and then they made a reference to the fact that it was from Men's Warehouse, like, you're never gonna get away with this. What, the Men's Warehouse reference? I think I will. I was like, yes, this movie is, as the kids would say is sending me. So
you
huge recommendation.
You know my love for puns and Muppets, and I was like, well, sold. Like honestly, this has got so many puns and Muppets along the way. He-Man was in it. That was really fun. And then again, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man. Where he had a movie where he turned into ants, the AUNTS, and I was like, oh, this is fun. This is
one.
It's just
one
great.
thing that was crazy is my wife and I are fans of the creator of the show, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Rachel Bloom. And she is married to one of the writers of this movie. So I saw through social media that they have been writing this movie for like years. Like I want to say at least they were working on early drafts of the script. I think they said when they were shooting that first season of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So that would have been before we ever knew Disney Plus was ever even going to exist. Right. So it is curious to think like, oh, maybe this actually was going to go to the big screen at one point in time or something along those lines. So I'm just hoping if they're going to do like a sequel or a fun iteration, hopefully we get it a little bit quicker. So hopefully maybe they're working on that next script already. Yeah,
100%. Well, I think, with Disney Plus, they turned some of the stuff around. I remember that we talked about them filming it last year a little bit. One of the last thing I'll add to this is the voice of Zipper was the Allstate guy. You're in
Oh yeah, I was like, ooh, smooth buttery voice.
Yeah, so it's just fun, and I always grew up watching Chip and Dale. All the episodes are on Disney Plus, by the way, of the old show, so you can get in there and check those out. So yeah, I agree with you. This is a must watch, a fun little watch that you can. It's only an hour and a half too, so. For that, I'm also going to take this opportunity to plug anything Akiva Schaffer's done. Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. What's that one they just recently did with Andy Samberg where it's like the it's the pool.
Palm Springs,
yes. Yeah. Like anything they do, it's always fun. Hot Rod, you've seen Hot Rod, right? Like so they just do great movies. So this is another opportunity to say that. On the other side, I finally got to watch the first episode of Stranger Things. God damn, these are long episodes, Mike. They spare no expense on the length of these season 4 episodes to make up for the lack of not having anything for 3 years.
Yeah. If there was ever a show that was formulated to binge in one weekend, it is Stranger Things. I'm sure you can find a great flow with it, doing an episode a day or a week or whatever you wanted to do. But I'm just like, hopefully you don't have kids and commitments, right? Just clear your calendars and just binge it all at once if you can.
What's crazy about Stranger Things, and I told you this, like, I hate this part about it is that they literally spend the first episode of every season reminding you how awkward these kids are and high school is in Indiana. I'm like, can you just get to the monsters? Like we know everybody's haunted or there's like some sort of portal in here. Can we just get to it quickly, please? Like I don't want to go through high school again in Indiana because we both grew up in high school in Indiana, very similar towns like these. So like we know what it's like. Let's get to the action.
It is almost a little bit, take your medicine, right, just before you get to the good stuff, especially since the wife and I had just finished rewatching season 3, so we were already like primed with like action and giant monsters, and then we're like, oh yeah, that's right, they got to do their due diligence and set up the seasons and where their characters are. The only thing that they, unintended consequences of like filming and pandemic and everything and the kids going through puberty, right, is I believe the time difference between season 3 and season 4 is only supposed to be like maybe like a year, I think maybe 8 months.
Yeah.
Because, because it was the summer, it's the end, it's like basically July when season 3 ends because it's like the 4th of July and then spring forward to spring break, so we're talking like 8 to 10 months and like no, these kids look like they're like 3 years older, so it's a little bit of a disconnect there, but like I said last week, it's great. I love it.
And definitely I think it's less like the first season like leans on nostalgia, right? This one's more grown up a little bit. The new characters are interesting. They're leaning into this Eddie guy quite a bit in the first episode. Very interested to see how all these go. So I'm excited to watch more of it. But goddamn, there's just so much to watch, and there is so much to watch. I haven't even got to watch the last thing on your list here because that's we're talking about so much. But go ahead and bust me through here on this Ambulance LA Ints.
Streaming on Peacock now is the movie Ambulance. the Michael Bay film starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Sorry, I can't remember his name, but the dude that played Dr. Manhattan in the HBO Watchmen series.
It's like Yahya Abdul Mateen. Second.
And
He's
then
Black Manta and.
Yeah, and then I can't remember the woman's name. She's she plays the basically like the sidekick to Bloodshot in the Bloodshot film that we watched. I think her name's Ava something or whatever. Yep. But if you're talking about high speeds and thrills, Chris, of flying around, guess what? Michael Bay found out what a drone is, and he uses it every other shot in this movie. He's going up and then back down, and then twisting around, and he's even flying them around inside of banks. Maybe one too many, but it is kind of fun to see a visual filmmaker like Michael Bay, starting to flex new tools. Through and through, this is a Michael Bay film. The first half of the movie is great. You get vibes of kind of like those 80s, 90s action movies. But the second half really, really loses me, especially if you're at home. Like I said earlier, this is a great time to kind of like pick up your phone and wait until like the third act comes to an end. And they make some weird decisions too, since it's this weird thing where like you're doing all these high speed action chases, but like your kind of main characters are stuck in a slow-moving box, right? The titular ambulance. So it's like they have to make the cops extra stupid in this movie, right? They are just like plowing through dead ends and going off cliffs. They're finding any pebble in the road to flip their car over so the ambulance can make it through this like
no one's
causeway.
Smarter than Michael Bay, goddammit.
Yes, exactly. So I would say since it's free, if you got Peacock already, it even did that thing where like, oh, we'll show you like 120 seconds of ads and the rest of the movie will be ad free. So that was pretty nice and pretty chill on my end. So yeah, stay tuned for some fun stuff at the beginning, but I would say that the back half of it kind of betrays the energy and the fun of the film, and it's a little long too. It clocks in over 2 hours. I think maybe like 2 hours and 20 minutes, maybe longer than that or shorter than that, somewhere in that zone. I think it should have been 90 minutes, and it would have been a better addition. But Ambulance over on Peacock if you want to check that out. And then dropped this Friday. I totally forgot. The Boys season 3.
They did a Kenobi and dropped it early on Thursday night. Actually,
yeah, it's here. It's ready to go. Queue up your man of recaps on YouTube if you need to catch up on season 2. This one picks up I think a year later, kind of similar to Stranger Things in a way. So at the beginning of the episode, you kind of have to catch up, see where our characters are. But they do a great job of catching you in the cold open in the first kind of 10 minutes of it. And there's lots of blood and guts and gore, as you love to see in The Boys.
All I've heard about this show so far is the cold open. And obviously you know why, because I think I even told you what I've heard about it as well.
But like no spoilers, but it's definitely fulfilling some fan service of some things that you wish you could see happen in the Marvel universe. But the first 3 episodes are ready to go. And then The Boys does what you love to hate, and they make Homelander. Just when you think you couldn't hate Homelander anymore, they find new ways, and it's great. They're doing a great job with The Boys. Yeah. So stay tuned, give it a watch.
And I believe it's weekly now. After the first 3 episodes are down, I believe it's weekly.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they do a similar thing with their other shows, like Marvelous Miss Maisel, where you drop a couple at the beginning, then it's once a week. But who knows? There's a chance that it could be twice a week. You don't really know until the next week rolls around, right? But I always find The Boys really fascinating because it's one of those properties that, like, I'll hear my brother-in-law talk about, who doesn't really keep up with any of this stuff, but he watches The Boys because most people out there in the world already have Amazon Prime. So, yeah, go check it out, The Boys Season 3. Thumbs up so far for the first 3 episodes.
I'm very excited to watch it. There's so many things out there to watch right now, and it's just hard to keep it all up. But that's good because I don't think anything out here right now that we have to watch is terrible. So that's a plus right now. So let's just take this time here. We haven't even gotten to the news yet because we're still watching. Let's talk about stuff coming out here, and we'll just say yay or nay real fast if we're excited for it. So next week is Jurassic Park Dominion or Jurassic World Dominion. You have tickets, so I
got tickets, so I'll give it a yay.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a meh.
Well, you didn't say meh was an option.
Well, here's the thing. I've not watched the last one, so I don't feel like I'm equipped to answer this, so I'm excited for it.
Man of recaps. Just Google Jurassic World. Was it domination?
No.
Deception?
Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom, whatever.
Yeah. You're starting to list off Resident Evil movies, Mike. You calm down here.
That's what happens.
Yes. Lightyear, the week after that. I'm going to give that a thumbs up. I'm ready for Lightyear.
Give it a thumbs up.
Tickets aren't even on sale for this yet, by the way. I looked it up today, which is weird. Yep.
Weird.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Hell yeah.
Thumbs up.
I saw the new trailer on the big screen today with Top Gun Maverick. They don't show his butt in the flick scene. They edit the blurred butt out of that whole, like, you don't even see that wide shot. It's edited out. And apparently that it's not in our notes here, but that's going to be on the MTV Awards tonight. A first look at this movie. So we might talk about that next week. Elvis.
Yeah, we were talking about this Tom Hanks.
You're talking about Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. Yeah, he's in this one, but he's got an accent, right? So it's not just him in a coat and a mustache trying to be something else.
He's in a coat and a mustache with a fat suit and an accent trying to be something else.
I doubt I will go to the theater to see this, but I don't know who owns it. But this seems like it'll be on a streaming service by the end of the summer, right? 45 days.
I've committed to watching this with my coworkers who want to go after work. So I'm like, this seems like an after work coworker movie. Like, I don't need to be concerned about what I'm doing. I'm going to eat and drink and watch a movie with everybody. So I'm on the fence, but I'm trying to hype myself up that it won't be bad. Bullet Train. I'm excited for this one.
Who's not hyped for it? Tons of great cast in this one.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Bad Bunny, who's going to go on to be in El Muerto later for Sony. Hell yeah!
Yeah, we got to do our research for that potential Morbin crossover.
Yes, it is definitely Morbin time. The movie Nope at the end of the summer.
Oh yeah, for sure. Plus.
I'm excited. I don't know if I'll watch that in theaters.
I would have to suggest, even if you're like not like really huge into like horror or feel like you could have just as good of a time at home, they're fun to watch in a big theater. Like we saw the last one in a theater, and it was great.
Yeah, and also end it with DC's League of Super Pets. I say don't underestimate DC animation.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if I'll see that in theaters either, but HBO Max needs some content later. But that's what I know. Did I miss anything that you can think of off the top of your head? I'm not putting Minions, The Rise of Gru in here. So
I rode the Minions ride for the first time last week at Universal. Yeah, the theming of the ride's pretty fun. It's all about Gru trying to turn people into minions, and then the machine doesn't work. It's not the most high thrill ride in the world, but it was fun. It kind of reminded me of like the Minions mobile game. Do you remember all of those running games where you're just like running forward and you swipe left and right?
Yeah, the endless runners.
Yeah, I think they had like a Minions version of that game that was really popular, and I felt like I was in that game. So it was kind of weird, but the Minions are the best part, and Steve Carell's weird accent as Gru drives me crazy. So it's really hard to enjoy that franchise myself.
As long as the Minion memes that make no sense online stop coming out, I'm fine with this. But other than that, I have no affinity either way. But let's jump into the news, Mike. We're halfway through the episode, or at least half hour in here. Morbin Time, Morbius, God. So Sony's about to learn a very hard lesson about laughing with you versus laughing at you. Here they thought we were laughing with them about all the cool things Morbius has. However, they were like, hell yeah, let's get in on this. Let's even have our actor Jared Leto post what time is it? It's Morbin time. They put the movie back in theaters this weekend. Only made I think $30,000 total this weekend. So that's second. It's the only movie that's bombed twice. I feel.
I feel like this. Has a little bit of more nuance to it, because unless it costs money to put the film back into theaters, which I don't believe that there's like a distribution cost necessarily. The way I look at it is they just made more money. So I would say I would say whether or not it did a success, I would say it was a strategic risk that didn't pay off, but wouldn't it be hilarious if it did?
No.
We would all just be like, oh my God, the power of the Morb.
We cannot let them win on this. I'm sorry, Mike. We have to teach them a lesson. We are laughing at you.
I'm still down for the fake rumor that we saw the other week. If they want to make a sequel that goes like straight to like some random streaming service,
yeah,
I'm okay with it. As long as I don't have to drag my butt to the theater to watch more of this.
Yeah, I would love more parody, right? Like I want them to acknowledge the parody and not have Jared Leto be like pretentious about it, like, oh my gosh, we made an art house film about superheroes, and I'm like, no. But I think, you know, yeah, saying like it costs nothing to put something in theaters, I think is a little thing, because they have to split ticket costs with the theaters, who like, we actually are getting more people to see Top Gun than Morbius, so we don't want to give up our theaters for you, Sony. Like, you're not gonna have any more screenings, but like, imagine doing so little because you think the world is going to go watch your movie again when it's not on streaming, but you can buy it online, I believe, and I also think the Blu-ray's out, so very interesting strategy. Nobody wins in the Morbius challenge this week. So there's that. Disney Plus Day. Mike, what do we know about Disney Plus Day?
I don't think we know anything about Disney Plus Day, except it's coming again, which, if it's anything like the last one, wasn't it just technically a long Twitter thread? Wasn't that all it was?
Really
just the
bad.
Longest Twitter thread in the world.
It was November of last year, and it was really, really bad. Like, we were like, oh, we're gonna get some cool stuff, and I'm pretty sure they didn't even give us any footage, right? Wasn't it just like, here's some screenshots and here's some other stuff going on here?
I mean, I don't mind them like leveraging, you know, the internet to like make these announcements, but I just felt like the Twitter thread functionally was not navigatable, right? And also, like, you can't really get public sentiment from a super long Twitter thread, right? Because you have to scroll through like 100 tweets just to get like somebody's response, and then you can't really respond to specific tweets like super easily. So I don't know, find a better way to do it.
Yeah, so this year it has moved up 2 months to September 8th, and will actually kick off or be right before the Disney 23 Expo, the actual fan event. So I think maybe they have learned their lesson a little bit. So maybe they're going to have something going on there, maybe some pre-recorded video, stuff like that, rather than, like you said, where they just did a live feed and then a Twitter response to another response. Like, it was just a never-ending thread of responses, right, that like we missed. So
yeah, it does make you wonder if the Disney Plus Day, like, they're obviously going to hold things back, right? Because you don't want to, like, you know, blow your big news, like I said, in a Twitter thread, when a couple days later you're going to be holding panels at an expo, right? Mm-hmm. So I wonder if it'll be something like, oh, maybe they'll announce a new show, or maybe a show that's already announced. They'll give us like a logo title treatment for it, and then 2 days later at the panel, you know, we'll get like a teaser trailer, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, hey, here's this, and more details in a couple, like you said, a day or two kind of thing.
It's the stretch before you run the marathon, right?
Yes. And last year they released Jungle Cruise and Shang-Chi on Disney Plus the day of the event. This year they're going straight with Pinocchio, the movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh, Geppetto.
Yes, we saw a trailer for it earlier this week. I didn't have anything. It's got a CGI, you know, Jiminy Cricket. Look kind of weird.
No, I am so out of touch with classic Disney that I totally forgot, like, the When You Wish Upon a Star song was from Pinocchio. I thought, like, oh, that's just the Disney song. That's just a melody that they invented for the opening title crawl of the Disney credits.
Yeah, that's all they do, Mike. It's always like Song in the South. Remember that they did that in those movies. They'll play it every once in a while, but they don't let you play it very often in the parks anymore. But yeah, I mean, Disney Plus Day, I'm excited for some stuff. Maybe like that would be a day like to announce the Chip and Dale stuff, right? Like the things, like, I don't need to know. I want more information about the Marvel projects and the Star Wars projects and the, you know, the bigger stuff. Like for this, like if you're gonna do it like a Twitter feed or a smaller thing, give us the stuff that's gonna come out that's gonna surprise us, right? Like a Chip and Dale reboot or sequel, or, you know, something like that we could really bite into. So that'll be here before we know it. So we'll keep you guys posted if we get any more news out of this little event. On the other side of Disney Plus, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is coming to Disney Plus on June 22nd. So here in just 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks now. It's great. It's now the highest grossing release in 2022 in the U.S., beating The Batman. So congratulations on its theatrical run. And also, Mike, the new Hot Toys for Dead Strange was announced, and I immediately saw it and sent it to you within like minutes.
You did it to me. This is exactly what I was hoping for. The Zombie Strange, as I like to call him, with his just skull dark wings. It's $385, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I want it. I'm battling my inner demons, his physical demons.
It looks so cool to see this guy. So. I'll link it here below, but like there's a mode where the skeletons are literally coming out of the cape behind him.
It's great.
And like there's so many different ways you can like, have fun with this. And I'm like, man, even I don't do Hot Toys, but like this looks so cool.
Yeah.
And I believe is there a mode where he can like it looks like he's flying? No.
Yeah, I think they do like a whole photo shoot, just like how they would do a photo shoot with like a real person, but like with the toy. And actually, since it's at pre-orders right now, I would not be shocked if these aren't the real toy, and maybe they could possibly just be renderings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because they're on pre-order, so they still have to make them.
Yeah, so judging by this, and then we have a friend of the show, Jason, who has a lot of Hot Toys. This looks like the actual figure based on this. Some of these photos here, which is really cool. He's got the mouth slashed across his face. You can see his rib cage, and the cape really sells me. If it was just the figure by himself, meh. But like the stand with the cape and the skeletons coming out of it just really nails the look. So that's available now for pre-order through Sideshow or your local comic book store / action figure store. And we've included the link in our show notes to check that out. It's just really, really cool. And this is Mike's weakness. I knew this was Mike's weakness as well when I saw it. I'm like, actually, like I don't want like a was it Marvel Legends toy like you buy at Walmart. No. I'm like, it has to be the good one. It has to be quality. So check that link out. Fantastic Four lost a director, John Watts. He's going over to Star Wars instead for a little bit. But the reports are that a new director for Fantastic Four will not be announced soon, because they are looking for a big name, quote unquote, like Sam Raimi did for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness for this film, to bring in like their own visual style, uniqueness, and like the not respect, but like like someone you trust, to make a movie like that.
Yeah, somebody with, I think the biggest takeaway of Sam Raimi was just somebody with a vision, right? Something that doesn't feel too cookie cutter. Somebody wants to put their own stamp on it. I'm sure there's recommendations out there. I'm sure people have done the quote unquote fan casting of this director. But what are the odds? Can't they just get Sam Raimi? Like, does he not want to do it, or is he busy?
Sam Raimi he brought his fingerprints of horror to Multiverse of Madness, right? Like his background's horror. Like Fantastic Four is not horror. What if you got, and this is a stretch, this is the biggest stretch I could pull out of this, Christopher Nolan in for Fantastic Four. And I only say this because he is, since Batman, he has leaned into Interstellar. He's he's done the Inception. He's done really crazy stuff.
Well, I feel like Nolan would be a good grab at the moment, just because he was so mad at Warner Brothers, over the release of his last film. So he kind of seems like he could possibly be a free agent out there in the world. It makes you wonder, do you just automatically assume that he's going to kind of take the direction he's taken all of his movies, very dramatic, very serious, right? And do we want that for Fantastic Four? I think maybe I would position him for like a different franchise, but I do like the idea of maybe Nolan kind of crossing the aisle, James Gunn style, and doing a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, and I think give him like a 1960s Fantastic Four where it doesn't have to touch the Marvel universe. Like he can just create and do what he wants without having to worry about fitting in, right? Like I think that would be, hey, set up our Fantastic Four and go. Now, I'm thinking more mind trippy science fiction stuff. Like Tenet was fantastic. There's no guarantee you do it, but like that's just kind of my go-to. I wouldn't know. Because Fantastic Four, you want it to be lighthearted sci-fi. Who does lighthearted sci-fi right now out there? Would be my question, Mike. Is this a Lord and Miller kind of thing? Even?
They might not want to be on the Star Wars Kathleen Kennedy side, but maybe crossing over to the Feige side. And I almost forgot to bring it up, but it was just kind of more of a off the cuff remark. But Feige did say he was kind of considering a possible Marvel-style expo in the vein of Star Wars Celebration. So,
the Avengers con kind of rumor.
Yeah, maybe when some of these announcements come out, I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense, right? You have equal, if not more energy in the fan base of Marvel right now.
You got more properties. You have more hours.
Yeah.
We talked last week about hours of content or shows, right? Like literally, Marvel has more than Star Wars by a long shot, I think, at this point.
I met two people last week that both the only Star Wars movie that they had ever seen was the very first one, A New Hope, or Star Wars, or Episode 4, whatever you want to call it, right? That was the only one that they had ever interacted with, but they had seen every Marvel movie, and they were Marvel fans. So, I mean, I'm not trying to pit the two properties against each other, but yeah, there's a fan base out there for an Avengers con for sure.
Oh, 100%. And more than just a Comic Con, right? Comic Cons are great, but like, you know, there's a Marvel, like, just maybe even like a Marvel con, Avengers con, like where it's everything, just Marvel, it would be fun. I would probably go to that, or at least attempt to go to it, for sure. But, yeah, 100%. I think Fantastic Four's got an opportunity for some sci-fi directors. If you guys listening have any directors' recommendations, send them our way, and we will make sure they get placed on Kevin Feige's desk himself from us. I Am Groot posted literally just a couple hours ago. It's a release date, August 10th on Disney+. A bunch of Marvel Studios original shorts. Looking here is Baby Groot, right? He's an alcoholic apparently with his little martini glass.
Where did he get the tiny margarita glass? I mean, I get it. It's fun. It's lighthearted. I like the poster. He's got the sunglasses on. He's got the air freshener as the tree. Yeah. But like the glass should be giant. Where did he get the tiny miniature glass?
Exactly. And then there's like two little aliens with like 4 eyes next to him there. So I want to know what trouble he's getting into. I want to know, like, this is not something I plan to take seriously or canonically, even though it might be. But this is also a week before She-Hulk, weirdly enough. Like, they don't care anymore. Dates are overlapping left and right on Disney+.
They're premiering things on a Friday and then shifting them to airing on Wednesdays now.
Yeah, surprises both. We'll talk about that in a minute. But like, this looks fun. Hopefully, you know, quality's good. I think Baby Groot, Kid Groot, whatever we call him, is hilarious. He's a fun character. Really enjoyed him in Guardians 2, right? With the bomb button, or he's like, press this button, and he's like, nah.
Gotta love him.
So it's gonna sell your toys all over the place with that. So August 10th, put on your calendars, folks. This week we get Miss Marvel on Disney+. I've been, for the past 2 weeks, I've seen people who got like the first episodes or 2 or 3 like reviewers kind of to them. For people who don't know the character, apparently they're gonna love it, and they don't think they have enough prints of the original run of Miss Marvel to sustain the reaction that are going to go with this. So,
I actually saw some online, obviously unsubstantiated conversations out there in the ether that comic book stores were having trouble kind of keeping up with She-Hulk and Moon Knight comic book runs on the shelf. So that just made me really happy, just knowing that people are going into comic book stores and buying comics. Like, what a great turn for comic book stores, right? You know, when originally they were ghost towns for a little while, and then
hard to maintain,
coming back around.
Yeah, and that's even better. I'm glad people are picking up the physical copies. I know digital are a thing. I read a lot of my books on computers or iPads over the years, but I still have my physical collection. I really, really enjoy as well. But my wife probably wishes I didn't have as many as I do, but oh well. But Wednesday, June 8th, Miss Marvel, first episode. I'm very excited to check out this first episode. We've talked about this for a very long time. Her power set's different. They're going to explain it. Really, really excited to get back into some Marvel stuff and see how this... Because this one, while Moon Knight was very disconnected from the MCU, this one seems very connected to the MCU because she's literally referencing Captain Marvel and wearing her costume pretty early on. So we'll check that out this week and report back to you guys next week. Obi-Wan Kenobi premiere was the 2-episode premiere was the most watched Disney Plus original series worldwide. I would say this goes back to what you said a couple minutes ago, where people who've only seen the original New Hope would know who this character is, right? Like, if that's the only movie you've ever watched, you would know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. So that's pretty cool for that. And then they went and yanked the rug out from under us and gave us the Wednesday debut of episode 3, which I did not realize until I was halfway through the workday. I'm like, oh, they're there are Star Wars conversations happening on the internet. I should probably get off of here before I get home.
And we are halfway through the season now, which is funny because I see a bullet point here that says there might be another season.
The rumor is the second season is reportedly in the works for this, which, I don't know if it's going to be a similar story.
I will forever never trust the phrase limited series anymore. Yeah. I was under the impression we were going to be six and done here. Nope.
It's limited to several seasons, and then it'll be done. I also wouldn't be surprised if this is just wishful thinking on like everyone's part, right? Like, hey,
or who knows? Maybe obviously since it's like a report, a rumor, maybe a character is gonna get spun off into a different show or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, there's a lot they could do here. I think one of the articles I read was the reaction to Darth Vader has been really good. So they're looking to put him in more things, which I don't think we need to be doing, but that's fine. Whatever they want to do. And this is also the midpoint. This week. I don't think we'll have a discussion this week on it, but you're familiar with the journey of writing television and movies, right, Mike? Like the midway point, you set your character up at either their highest point and they're about to fall, or the lowest point they have to come up. And I would say this nails it hits the nail right on the head. It's like, here's the lowest point of this show right now with it. But I will say, like I said, we're not going to discuss the show in third, but I really enjoyed seeing Vader just drag somebody with the Force behind him through a street in this episode. I was like, that's pretty cool. We've not seen that yet.
Yeah, it is. It's very strange, right? Getting, because Anakin and Hayden Christensen have been brought to the forefront of the marketing and the promotional, just recently, right? But still, when Vader talks, it's still just James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for me to connect that in my brain because, I know that's Anakin under the emotional connection that Ewan McGregor had with him on screen, back in the movies, but it's just James Earl Jones coming out of the, the mechanical breather. So it is kind of weird for me to cross in my head.
They brought him back too, thankfully. This isn't one of those AI robot voices either. That was actually James Earl Jones, who is still alive, age 91, voicing Darth Vader.
Ooh, he's doing a great job. Because usually I feel like once you get to that age, maybe they're doing some kind of digital cleanup a little bit. That could be possible. But since his voice has kind of always kind of come through a little bit of kind of a tin can filter, if you will, maybe that kind of helps. A little bit along the way. We won't jump into the episode in any depths, but this one was a little bit more entertaining just because the addition to Vader. But the show, the pacing of the show just still feels very odd to me. It just there's something clunky. I don't know what it is. I don't know what metaphor I want to say. I don't know if there's a gear that needs to be greased or if there's a twig and a spoke and it keeps clattering every time the paddle goes around, but something is just off and I cannot quite figure it out. So maybe tune in the next couple weeks, maybe I'll figure it out.
I think to me it is there are too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will, in character wise. The addition of, hey, here are 4 Inquisitors, but if you don't know what an Inquisitor is, fuck you. It's really weird. Why do they need so many villains in one show? And even though no one's really fighting him yet, but Vader at this point, right? So, I think it's really interesting to see that many Inquisitors, but. One thing I did enjoy, I love seeing the glow of lightsabers in the dark, and they definitely did a lot of glowy lightsabers in the dark on this one. So. Yeah,
that was kind of clever because you think, oh yeah, back when they originally made these movies, they didn't have the gigapixel LED lightsaber to illuminate because they went out of their way to kind of make that scene pitch black, so it was just 2 lightsabers in the moon. So visually, that was interesting.
Yeah, I like I said, I just dragging somebody through a street with the Force is something we hadn't seen before. I'm like, yeah, we need to see more of this stuff. That'd be pretty cool. The Bad Batch trailer dropped after we stopped recording last week for Star Wars Celebration. Season 2 trailer dropped. This is some time has passed since the first season. I know you've not watched it yet, right? But they have updated their outfits with some new colors. They've kind of aged up Omega a little bit. 16 episode second season dropping September 28th on Disney Plus. So That'll be a good 4 months for me to watch every week.
Yeah. I won't watch it, but I do like just seeing Filoni get his way, right? You know, he's like, yeah, I want to make more Bad Batch. Yeah, let me do whatever I want, and because he's a golden goose now.
Well, between this and Tales of the Jedi, his Clone Wars animation and like kind of feel and vibe is just carrying on through so many different properties, and I love that. Like something he started in 2007, 2008, just keeps going and going and going and going, and now he's diving into live action. He's handling Ahsoka. I would watch a documentary just with him alone on stuff. So.
I would love to see Filoni cash in on all of this at some point in time and do something in the vein where, you know, Lord Miller made the Mitchells versus the Machines, a totally brand new IP that's animated that they wanted to make. You know, Filoni's printing all of this Star Wars cash. Yeah. Just let him make something wholly original. Just delve into any art style he wants to do, even if it costs a ridiculous amount of money. I'd love to see that.
You say that, but then I look at what kind of the Russo brothers did whenever they got off of Marvel for a little bit there. I'm like, maybe he likes being there.
Hey, we got the Gray Man.
That's true.
Let's wait until we see the Gray Man.
That's true. I think Filoni loves Star Wars. I think he loves being iconic.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying he's not having a good time, but you know.
But maybe that's what he wants to. Maybe he wants to maybe he wants a Star Wars movie of his own. Maybe it's give me my run. Maybe a three movie animated movie even online.
Ooh, the Filoni trilogy. Maybe that's what kind of heals the fan base.
Yeah, I'd put him in charge and give him that kind of stuff. So and then I my goal this summer, Mike, I'm going to tell you this right here, is to finish watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm somewhere in book 2, so I have to go find out where I was, but I will try to finish this show this summer, Mike.
Good book to be in. Yeah. A lot of Zuko character development.
Yes, and from my understanding is, in the end of the second chapter, second act, your character is at their lowest point, right? So very excited to see where this kind of goes with it. Moving. I didn't put this. I gotta relink this, Mike. But I know we both watched the teaser trailer for Gotham Knights, and goddamn, does this not look fun?
I love the concept of it. I know nothing about Gotham Knights, so maybe this is pulled straight from a comic book run out there. But I do like the idea of Batman dies. They're trying to figure out who killed him, and then it's kind of like these scrappy teens kind of come out of the woodwork and seem to form a team. The idea is clever, but like I said to you earlier in the week, in the hands of the CW, it just seems like another ploy to not put Batman on the screen again.
Yeah. Be prepared to do 2 seasons of this on the CW. But the thing with me is the whole trailer is did you know your dad was Batman? And I'm like, is his dad Batman? What's going? What are we missing here? This is nothing like the Gotham Knights game coming out, and it's blowing my mind because the Gotham Knights game is Batman is dead, yes, but you get to play as Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, or the Red Hood. So none of those characters are in this, right? I don't see anyone but Carrie Kelly's Robin, and then oh, are you the Joker's daughter kind of thing. I'm like, you just want to reference, like you said, be tangential to Batman without actually having Batman in here. So I don't know if it'll be any good, but you can at least see the trailer. It feels a lot like a Riverdale and Gotham kind of thing, but maybe I'm oversimplifying it. Last bit of news for the day, actually kind of unrelated to everything else. Mad Max spinoff Furiosa, the filming is underway. And this has got Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa, and Chris Hemsworth is in this, and I forget who the other actor is. But it's the prequel to Fury Road. Everyone loves Fury Road, right? I've never met someone who's I don't like Fury Road.
Magnificent film.
So I guess I need to look this up. Is this being done by George Miller? It is being done by George Miller. So, it's got the guy from Ambulance, the guy you couldn't pronounce his name. Yeah, okay. So that's a hell of a cast. I think those are three main cast members I really, really enjoy. So I'm excited to watch this. It's supposed to come out next or in 2 years, 2024. So yeah, I don't know, man. George Miller is 77 out here still making movies. So
yeah, it's weird. It almost seems like it's weird to say that it seems like the film would almost be better off if it was directed by somebody else, just because then you wouldn't have to live up to almost the near perfection that was Fury Road, right? Because you could always just like, oh, well, it was a different director, so a slightly different interpretation of the character, so... even though it's not as good, right, we're still getting like another story. But now since it's him, they're like, oh, so this is basically going to be more of the amazingness that you brought us years ago. So we'll see if it goes that way.
And it's a prequel. It's prequel-wise. I just looked this up. Holy shit. 2015 was Fury Road. This movie will be 9 years old by the time the next one comes out. So, surprising.
I wonder, I would love to maybe see a little bit of subversion in some way around how she loses her arm, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, you think in your head, like, oh, does it happen, in the third act when she's, like, trying to save the day, so she sacrifices her arm or whatever to defeat the villain that she needs to defeat? Or, a
cat scratches her and she loses her arm.
Oh God, no! I'm still not over that. Don't bring up that baggage. But it could be kind of clever. Maybe there could be something clever there. I don't know exactly what it would be, but I'll be watching it. If it's anything like Fury Road, you got to see it in theaters.
There's a lot, like, for my home theater. Fury Road is one of my go-to movies, right? Like the HDR, the light and darks in the film, the sound alone, because it's not a dialogue heavy movie. It's the music, everything just comes together so well. So like that's like one of those things, like when you get a nice home theater, that's what you want, because like it just all blends perfectly. So very, very excited for that. For this to come out. Hopefully the quality is there and they're not just putting out a prequel to put out a prequel along the way. So for that. All right, Mike, that's the news. Kept it. Most of it was discussing what we watched because we both were in love with Chip and Dale. Chip and Dale.
Rescue Range, Chip and Dale.
When there's danger.
I love that joke at the end of like, oh, the audience just wants to hear the original, but let's play the version with the.
Let's play the updated pop version of it. Yeah, and then
was that Post Malone? I didn't catch who was doing the updated version.
I don't know. I'm gonna look this up here real fast.
It was catchy though. It was one of the few times where I actually like. Oh no, I like this. I like the modern pop version.
It was Post Malone. You are correct.
Nice.
So good call there. Yeah, everybody came together for that one. But anyway, if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing this week, where can they find you at?
Oh, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you could read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where are you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or Instagram, Valdan87. The new Fortnite season out with, like I predicted, Darth Vader and Indiana Jones. So if I get any clips or put anything online, I'll be sharing that online as well. People know more about the show, what we're doing. We might be a little late next week recording, folks, so be prepared for that. Where can they find that at?
Oh, all you have to do is hop on the Fury Road and drive over to the headquarters, which is superheroslate.com. That's the best place to find all the avenues we host our show, to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to see all of the things that we talked about in this week's episode, we got our show notes over there on the website. You can get our upcoming release calendar. So if you want to see all the things coming out this summer, this fall, winter, next year, the upcoming years of announced stuff, we got an awesome upcoming release page over there that we like to use as a tool for ourselves. So we wanted to provide it to our listeners. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to find podcasts. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Please reach out and let us know what you thought of, I don't know, anything that we talked about. Top Gun Maverick, Chippendale, Stranger Things, Ambulance, The Boys. We love hearing from you. And we also love our super fans. And shout out to friend of the show and super fan Quentin Parker. Congratulations for having his very first baby girl just born just a couple days ago. So congratulations to the Parkers over there. And this will be the true test to see if he listens to the very end of our podcast. That's right. Because we know he chimes in every once in a while when he's listening, but we'll see if he makes it to the end.
Our group chat just blows up. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh, Quentin's listening to the show, and one of us is in trouble. So it's very fun.
Exactly. So if you want to be a super fan like that and have your next, I don't know, child announced on the podcast, just all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and then, like I said, create brand new fans by having babies.
That's right.
And we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.